So let's talk about the Google Meet Grid View extension. It's available in the Chrome Web Store by looking up Google Meet Grid View, and it's the one by Chris Gamble. So when you have the Google Meet Grid extension installed, you'll see it in the extension bar, but you'll also see it within Google Meet itself. When you hover over it, you have several options. I like to leave mine enabled by default, which means it will always pop up in the grid view when my calls first begin. I also like to include myself in the grid, and here's why. Sometimes I forget I'm on camera, and I just want to see myself to remind myself that I'm on camera. It's just a little thing that I want to do to protect myself. Also, you have the ability to highlight speakers, which means there's a little box around them so that you'll see which person is currently speaking. So you can turn that on or off as well. You can also choose to only show participants with video. I don't recommend using this with students because it's nice to see all of your students in one place. But if you need to only see those with video, that box is there as well. You also have the ability to enable screen capture mode, and what that does is it locks all the videos in place and it takes off the names. So if you're doing a screen capture of your Meet, if you're recording it with a screen capture tool, you can also remove names and it will lock them in place so they're not bouncing up and down. There are some advanced settings. There's a resize grid when toolbar is showing, or obscure the grid when the toolbar is showing, or always show the toolbar and resize the grid. You also can decide about chat and people behavior and how that impacts the grid. Show your own video. I like this because it keeps your video mirrored, which is great if you're trying to show something and you want to make sure that it is in the correct view for someone else. So you see here, my own video is mirrored right now, but if I flip it, then I'm able to see in the correct mode. So this is another thing that's super helpful, especially if you're going to be showing materials that have print and holding those up. So that's super helpful. This one is one of ones that I call a highlighter moment. Oftentimes people forget that they want to see the presentation in the grid. I like to see whatever it is I'm presenting as one of the boxes in the grid so I can see what I'm showing. That's also super helpful if you've watched my previous video on when you're presenting, whether you're showing your whole desktop, a window, or a tab, to see what you're showing, because oftentimes in presenting we kind of get lost with what we're saying and we forget that we may not be showing what we're talking about. So I always show the presentation in grid. That's just a little tip if you're ever going to be presenting. Also, you can move the first word to the end so that you put their last name first, put their first name first, or don't modify it at all. That's just kind of a preference. And also you can choose your video quality. I leave mine automatic, so it bases it on how many people are present in the meeting. So lots of different settings for grid view. If you want to turn off the Meet Grid View extension, all you have to do is click on it and it disables it and puts it back into the Google Meet view. And that, if you're using the Google Meet view, that is controlled down in the bottom under layout. But if you are using the Grid View Google Meet extension, then you don't have to worry about the settings here because this will override them. So just a couple things to think about. It's a great tool, especially if you want to get more of a Zoom-like experience in your Meet. It's a great way to see all of your students at once. So again, you will go to the Chrome Web Store and you will download Google Meet Grid View extension. There have been a couple updates, so if you've had it before and it stopped working, or if it's acting a little strange, always go and uninstall it and reinstall it with the latest version. And you can find when the latest version is by looking at the updated date. So if you know you haven't updated it since June 17th in this particular example, then you may want to remove and reinstall. Just a couple things to think about, but I absolutely love the Google Meet Grid View extension. Fantastic.